Hello all, James here. Now we're going to be talking about CM Punk, Tony Khan and AEW getting sued by the younger brother of Nick Nemeth, that is Ryan Nemeth, who was in AEW for a few years, is currently in TNA. And before you complain about my pronunciation, I've heard Nemeth said Nemeth, Nemeth and Nemeth all in the same morning when trying to figure out how to actually say the name properly, because everyone seems to have a different pronunciation. I'm going to just stick with Nemeth for now. Now, Ryan Nemeth is suing Tony Khan, CM Punk and AEW, alleging that he was unfairly dismissed from AEW. I mean, he is an independent contractor, so he's got, not got that going for him, I guess, because of CM Punk's blind hatred towards Ryan Nemeth and Tony Khan, and this keeps coming up in the lawsuit. We're going to be going through the lawsuit, by the way. His deep admiration and obsession with CM Punk basically meant Tony Khan would go along with whatever Punk wanted to do. So the lawsuit was written pretty badly. There's some stunning claims in there, some distortions of facts, and dare I say, a couple of straight-up lies as well. So let's get straight into it. Ryan Nemeth is a successful actor. Lie. He's had some bit parts in some things I've never heard of. The Stranger in Bed, Hunky Reporter, Background Performer. There was a construction worker, uncredited. Apparently the thing that he's people might recognise him where he might have had a speaking role is Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he's had 8 appearances as various characters when they needed some character turning up. Next is, comedian. Well, I didn't realise that he was a comedian because there was like one clip apparently last year that he released on Twitter where he was doing stand-up or trying to launch stand-up like his more successful older brother, by shooting on CM Punk in the calling him softest wrestler alive, which that will come up constantly. But I didn't realise he was a comedian. Anyway, a successful one, certainly not. And also stuntman, he claims, of the grand total of stunts he's done on films, 3. Wanted Man, never heard of it. The Iron Claw, wrestling utility stunts, I guess. And The Guardians of Justice Will Save You, which was that short-lived, low-budget superhero thing starring Diamond Dallas Page. Now, where are we? So, he's established himself as a star performer. Well, he's established himself basically as a jobber on AEW. Maybe he's got a more prominent role in TNA. But anyway, Nemeth was under contract with AEW. AEW is owned by Shad Khan and Tony Khan, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And also, just a few sentences down, they start going on about the Khan family-owned Fulham Football Club, that Tony ended up mismanaging Fulham, leading to multiple lawsuits against the club. Now, that actually does have some basis of merit, including Ian Wright, I'm not going to explain, legendary footballer and pundit, pointing at the finger at Tony Khan for the club's failings in the transfer market of the season. I think this was in 2019. Yes, it was. So, and yeah, I won't explain all the tables and everything, but, in the 2010s, who were in the Premier League, which is the top league in football until Shad Khan took over, and then they were bouncing back and forth between the old Division 1 and the old Division 2 of football. Once again, I'm not going to bother explaining that all because it would just take too long. Now, the Khan family formed AEW to provide Tony with something to do safely away from the family's other ventures. Now, that's not true, I don't think, because for starters, Tony Khan still works with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Fulham as well, so I don't think it's distracting him from his other stuff. I mean, just AEW seems to be distracting from everything else, I guess. Right. We're going to go to the next paragraph now. Phil Brooks was another wrestler under contract with AEW and a member of the AEW management team, which apparently is sort of true. I looked at a video a couple of years ago, and Tony Khan actually said that CM Punk did have an office job. Now, Tony Khan had a deep fascination with Brooks. Brooks being CM Punk, undertook a campaign to terrorize and intimidate plaintiff, including physical assault. We're going to get into that later as well, but I'm not sure that happened. Now, a few more sentences, and then we keep going into this theme of Tony's deep admiration for Brooks, and because he was their most popular wrestling performer, that Tony Khan would stick up for him. Brooks and Tony's insistence, AEW and Tony Khan have undertaken an effort to blackball Nemeth, so we can never again work in the wrestling business. What a load of crap. Blackball, I'll get to that in a minute as well, because the blackball thing happens quite soon. Right, let's go to 14. At all relevant times mentioned herein, Brooks was also an employee of AEW, serving in a role in executive leadership. We believe he actually was, or some office job, or some power beyond just being a wrestler. But 15 will ignore... oh, no, we won't ignore, actually, because Brooks assaulted and battered 2 fellow wrestlers in early 2023, which isn't true, because he's talking about the Young Bucks, that was in September. That's not early 2023. Brooks is known to have an uncontrollable temper and often lashes out in violent tirades against others. What violent tirades have I mean, the last time I heard that CM Punk got in a fight was in 2003 against Teddy Hart, and he lost. So, uncontrollable temper, violent tirades. I mean, let's get into that for a second. Number 16. Khan has a deep personal affinity for Brooks. I kept highlighting these just because it kept making me laugh. Brooks is prone to lashing out in violent episodes and to injure others. Now, let's just figure this one out together, right? CM Punk, who was not only the worst modern UFC competitor of all time, but had also just torn his tricep in a match with John Moxley, I think, earlier, like within an hour before. He beat up both Young Bucks after they busted through his locker room. It's not like he hunted them out. I mean, yeah, he did verbally antagonize him on, the brawl-out media scrum. But, I mean, it's very much this lawsuit suggesting that he was the one who started the physical altercation, which CM Punk absolutely did not. Now, he did with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, which amounted to a shove. The shove causing Tony Khan to fear for his life, let's not forget. Right, back to the thing. 17. 18. During his suspension for unknown reasons, Brooks made it known that he despised Nemeth. Nemeth did nothing to Brooks whatsoever, but Brooks made it well known that he was angry with Nemeth. Brooks has a notorious history for taking violent action against others for no reason. I mean, it sounds like a massive pile of bullshit, that, quite frankly. As I say, this is not a very well-written lawsuit whatsoever, but let's go. First off, Ryan Nemeth did nothing. He called CM Punk literally the softest man alive in a tweet in fact, I've even got it for you. Where is it? There we go. That's on June 18th. Now, we're going to be messing around with the dates a little bit here, but if he's going to tweet that out, which Ryan actually claimed later on claimed he did this because, well, I'm a heel, and I was trying to make fun of CM Punk, who's a babyface, in fact, here's the quote. The top good guy on the TV show was missing for 8 months due to what I was... well, Collision only just come back anyway, but due to what I was told was a tricep injury. On his very first night back, he in character called someone else soft. I thought, well, I'm a heel, this is a babyface, we both work for the same wrestling company. He gets injured more than anyone who has ever wrestled. And on his very first night back in character, he thought someone else was soft. What else am I supposed to do? Well, for starters, you weren't working with him. I'm pretty sure, unless someone can tell me different, I'm absolutely sure that Ryan Nemeth was not working with CM Punk and had no relation to him on screen, I think. I don't even know if they ever talked or touched on TV. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, so now he's sort of trying to backtrack on someone. Clearly they don't like each other, or Ryan didn't like Punk, or whatever it was. There was clearly animosity before that message was sent, that tweet was sent on June 18th. So, that being said, June 21st, this is 3 days afterwards, following Brooks' return to the wrestling circuit, he assaulted Nemeth in the male talent locker room. In a menacing manner, Brooks shouted at Nemeth, "Do we have a fucking problem? Do we need to step outside and handle this like men?" Nemeth was cornered by Brooks, and did everything he could in order to de-escalate the situation. The softest wrestler alive, and you're trying to de-escalate the situation because you're scared. There's two things here, right? One, where's the assault here? All that's being said is voices were raised, right? But if you've been assaulted, people generally describe what happened in the assault rather than just go, I was assaulted. Or, describe how the assault took place, unless they were knocked out and can't remember. Anyway, the next day, Nemeth was contacted by... I'm sorry. I didn't have this on that. The next day, Nemeth was contacted by Tony Schiavone and other executives from AEW to explain what happened. Nemeth calmly and factually explained he was attacked by Brooks in the locker room. Once again, what assault? Nothing happened to Brooks as far as a punishment from AEW. He says, what assault? I mean, if you're going to keep referring to an assault, describe the assault, not just the talking. Anyway, this is 23, it is well known in the wrestling industry that benching a wrestler is a form of punishment. That is, the wrestling performer is not scheduled for a match and thus is not paid. Okay, right, so this is something I want to bring up, right? I thought in AEW you were salaried. He didn't get paid per shot. Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe he had a different contract. But I thought whether he stayed home or not, like, Ricky Starks or Miro or whoever else, you got paid. So I don't know what this is trying to claim here. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But Ryan Shaw did wrestle a lot for AEW, 2021 and 2022, which makes me think that he was salaried. So I don't understand that. Anyway, 24, the following incident with Brooks, Nemeth greatly feared being benched by AEW. Here's the thing. Let's go on to this benching thing, right? He hadn't been booked for any, and this is, what date are we looking at here? Mid-June, June 22nd, right, where he's talking to Tony Schiavone that he was not booked for a match for over 2 months. Here's the thing, he wasn't booked for a match 3 months prior, and I'll tell you why. Here we go. It's because, this is cagematch.net, right? All the pink dashes next to the match indicates that it was on Dark or Elevation, right, which were only on YouTube. They weren't actually on television. All the green ones, the few green ones that were here, this is at the beginning where he's just getting beaten in short order as well. Dynamite, Rampage, whatever was on television. Here's the thing, right? So mostly pinks. If they're blank, that's a Jericho Cruise or something different where it was not broadcast anywhere. AEW Dark, which wasn't... There was a dark match on AEW Dark somehow. So, here we go. So we're looking at 24th of March 2023. This is the last time that Ryan Nemeth was booked regularly. And he was booked regularly before then, or semi-regularly before then, right? The reason why he stopped getting bookings is because around this time, I think I can find it exactly. Yeah, AEW Dark was cancelled and Elevation was cancelled that same month or like 2 weeks afterwards, whenever it was. So that's why Ryan Nemeth wasn't getting bookings. He wasn't getting bookings because he was an AEW Dark wrestler and they'd cancelled AEW Dark. I don't think it was anything to do with CM Punk. That's my opinion. So Ryan Nemeth was just basically one of dozens of guys who ended up just not getting any bookings anymore because they had television to fill and not just YouTube channels or whatever to fill. So his last match prior to the complaint was actually 24th of March 2023. So 3 months goes by basically until he starts complaining. Or the second complaint, because he did complain once in April, which may well not have helped his cause because no one likes a complainer in wrestling, even if it's valid. Now, let's go back. Right, 26, because Nemeth was not booked for matches, his income stream from AEW dried up. Once again, I thought he was salaried. And 2, you can always take indie bookings. I'm pretty sure pretty much anyone can take indie bookings if you need extra money. So I find that weird to say there. Right, 27, Nemeth once again contacted AEW's legal department on June 17th. Are we just bouncing? Hang on, number 20 is June 21st. And then on 27, it's June 17th. These dates are all over the place, man. Anyway, 28, I just wanted to highlight this. Because Tony Khan had such a deep admiration for Brooks, in brackets, bordering on an obsession. And I'm sort of wondering if Ryan Nemeth has sort of like main character syndrome here with all the, all these conspiracies against him. But anyway, here's where things get a bit more interesting on 29 and 30. August 12th, Nemeth was finally booked for an event, Greensboro, North Carolina. On the morning of August 12th, Nemeth was walking through the hotel lobby to board a shuttle in a sports arena when the wrestling match would take place. Matches, or the wrestling event, not match. He saw, as I say, this is a horribly written lawsuit by a clown. He saw Brooks. Brooks immediately took out his phone and began to text, and then a moment after the text was sent, Nemeth received a text from AEW supervisor Pat Buck saying he needed to speak with Nemeth as soon as he got to the arena. And now I'll speed this up for you a little bit. Ryan Nemeth was kicked out of the arena. That, I believe, did happen. Was it CM Punk's direction? It could well have been. If this ever actually, goes to trial and discovery and stuff like that, I guess, we'd actually find out for sure. But this is the kind of thing that I sort of figure out that it was true, that he was kicked out. Maybe they had some altercation, maybe because Collision had just started off, and I think Punk didn't want any pro Young Bucks or pro Kenny Omega people in the arena, just to sort of, it was almost like a really weird roster split for a short while there. But also, since we're mentioning deep admiration Tony Khan had for CM Punk, keep in mind that, where are we? August 12th. Keep in mind that Tony Khan fired CM Punk 2 weeks later. August 15th, Nemeth contacted AEW's legal group, complaining about being ejected. Where's the bit? There was a bit, I hope I've not... No, it's at 33. Nemeth was embarrassed and humiliated in front of other wrestlers after he was kicked out, who witnessed him being kicked out of the arena. More importantly, fans observed him leaving the arena, pictures were taken, and the expulsion became viral on social media. Did it? I remember seeing a single photo. I even tried to Google it, like photos. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, put it in the comments. Link me if you can. But I don't remember seeing a single photo of Ryan Nemeth being humiliatingly leaving the arena that day. Maybe, and if it was, then everybody's forgotten it, I guess. Anyway, the entire episode was engineered by Brooks. Brooks demanded that Nemeth be told to leave and he would be flown out of Greensboro immediately, probably. Khan, for his part, went along with Brooks out of his deep admiration. That's in 34. Right, we're on August, we're on 35, we're on 36, okay, 36 on, there we go. We're nearly at the end, don't worry. On November 18th, 2024, Nemeth wrestled for the last time in AEW. That's true, but the thing is, if Tony Khan would do anything that Punk said, keep in mind that he was brought back, Ryan, 5 days after Punk left, which is sort of not surprising, because I bet that was definitely a political thing to bring him back, and also Colt Cabana came back as well. Around this time, he started doing a load of dark matches and getting booked again after a year not getting booked. Ryan would do 2 more shots, one losing 26 seconds to Wardlow, and then Paul White defeated... Why do you even put that in a dark match? But anyway, Paul White, the former Big Show, defeated the Wingman, Peter Avalon, and Ryan Nemeth in a handicap match. So anyway, let's go back... Where are we going? So number 39 we'll go to. Khan was heartbroken by the departure of Brooks, his idol, and that he adored in every way. He fired him. I mean, how heartbroken can you be? I mean, maybe he was disappointed, but anyway, he was clearly more enamoured with the Young Bucks, I would say, because not only they kept their jobs. I mean, they did have to serve like a 4-week suspension or whatever it was, but they got re-signed to huge contracts. Didn't one of their wives quit because they were sick of AEW? I can't remember. And anyway, not only were they given huge contracts, then they were given months and months and months off as well. So I'd say that maybe Tony Khan's probably more enamoured with the Young Bucks. Number 40, Khan was furious with Nemeth. Tony Khan believes that Brooks left AEW because of Nemeth. Right, this is main character syndrome bullshit. At no point would CM Punk, I am sure, have left AEW because of Ryan Nemeth. Quite clearly, according to Ryan's own testimony, CM Punk had the power to get rid of Ryan from whatever show he wanted. So why would Punk then leave AEW because of Nemeth? That's so moronic. In no reality is this true. I mean, until Punk would have stayed with AEW until some other confrontation happened, and then he either quit or managed to legally get out of his contract somehow, or Tony Khan fired him for something else. I'm pretty darn sure that this has nothing to do with Ryan Nemeth whatsoever. As I say, this is a shitty lawsuit that, me sitting down here for an hour has managed to come up with better arguments to sort of crap all over what Ryan's claiming in his lawsuit than... it wasn't even hard. Anyway, the defendants, this is 41, the defendants have embarked upon a campaign to blackball Nemeth from professional wrestling. Right, I'll get to that in a second. Specifically, Tony Khan blames Nemeth for Brooks leaving AEW and has caused his significant resources to make that Nemeth can never again make a living in wrestling. Yes, Ryan Nemeth is so blackballed that he almost immediately got a job with TNA Wrestling. Blackballing is such a crock of shit. I hate to say this, it's a great example, but Dr. D, Dave Schultz, claimed he was blackballed. It's no one was blackballing him after leaving the WWF. He blackballed himself by being completely unpredictable and, hard to control. He was in Memphis. I think he might have been in the AWA afterwards. People just stopped booking him because of that, I guess. Loads of the wrestlers thought he was fantastic for slapping that reporter. But here we go, Ryan Nemeth again. Right, let's just go on to all promotions of the blackballed Ryan Nemeth. I did have the page saved up. Wow, look at all these promotions, including TNA, that he currently still works for, and Indies and that kind of thing. He's not wrestled that much, actually, in fairness. He's had 20 matches that we know of since May of last year. But that being said, Tony Khan cannot blackball anybody. Like Vince McMahon or Triple H or whatever can't blackball anybody because there is competition out there. And if you are valuable enough, then someone else will pick you up. And with TNA, they picked up Ryan Nemeth after, no doubt, Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, his older brother. I'm pretty darn sure it's going to be a family thing. Just like, well, almost like Lanny Poffo, I guess. Randy Savage, like, can you pick up my kid brother? Yeah, but, Lanny was, very talented in his own right as well and underrated in that sense. But, yeah, it's a total nepotism hire, most likely, I find. But there's no way that Tony Khan could blackball, or probably even attempted to blackball, Ryan Nemeth. And number 42... the conduct of each defendant was malicious in the defendant's intended to cause injury to the plaintiff, which there was no description. Defendants acted willfully. It says it's misspelled here, but that might just be the American spelling with 2 L's for will and willfully, and with a conscious disregard for the rights of the plaintiff. Nemeth is seeking compensatory damages, punitive damages, and demands a jury trial. Nemeth is seeking compensatory damages, punitive... Oh, I've already read that. God, I'm already going brain dead from this stupid thing. In December 2024, Fightful Select reported that Nemeth submitted a complaint to numerous AEW executives that outlined a timeline of events that he says highlighted abuse, harassment, and threats he faced while working in AEW. Nemeth is currently part of TNA Wrestling, the blackballed guy, while Punk was fired from AEW. Jeez, it just goes on and on and on. Anyway, before this lawsuit was filed, claims were made to Fightful that new AEW lawyer Chris Peck offered Ryan the equivalent settlement of 3 years' salary to sign an NDA, but before Ryan could consider this offer, the offer was withdrawn. Once again, all I can say is this is just a really bad lawsuit, and that if Tony Khan's lawyer... Look, if I was Tony Khan's lawyer, I could have had this laughed out in court. It's really easy to disprove loads of stuff here. In fact, if CM Punk and Tony Khan or anybody from AEW want to, you are welcome to steal all of my talking points from this video, so go nuts. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this lawsuit, but my personal opinion is it's absolutely god-awful. And, when you read the lawsuit from, like, Janelle Grant, where that was masterfully put together, had dates, places, names, times, very detailed acts, and then this is just a ramshackle dates misplaced in the arguments and just some stuff that's quite really obviously easily disprovable. It just buries the rest of your argument where it might even be true. So there you go, terrible lawsuit. That's my opinion. Let me know yours, and I'll see you for the next video.